Gormagat Ciancuirla. Ar an cédul si is fála marrá gormagat na muinter Fort Lariga as an tachu a for me I ré an tauchán. I didn't have the opportunity to thank the people of Waterford. My maiden speech was the very important matter of the nomination of the Taoiseach, so I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank the people of Waterford for their support. I suppose it's with mixed emotions I speak on this matter today. I mean, suicide is every family's worst nightmare, and traditionally it is rarely discussed. The public attitude towards mental health and suicide must change if we're to be able to provide for the people who need the help and for the people to be able to accept the help. 1 in 4 people in Ireland have a mental health difficulty, which is an alarming statistic, making it an issue of national importance, and I welcome again, as I said, the opportunity to address the Dáil in this matter. Since my involvement with Labour Youth and in my, as I moved through the ranks in Dáil na Nóg, I have always spoken out on this issue. I've attempted to shine a light on the issue that has been allowed to stay hidden in the shadows for far too long. I have seen firsthand in my work as a child protection social worker and later on in my work with Bernardo's how suicide and mental health affects not only the individual but their entire family, and in particular children. It is great to see that 35 million has been ring-fenced within the health budget to develop community mental health teams and services, such as providing psychologists and counsellors in the primary care teams throughout the country. I would just like to highlight this quote in particular from the programme for government: that we will endeavour to end the practice of placing children and adolescents in adult psychiatric wards. This is an issue that I have been outspoken on for a number of years. It is very well known, or maybe it's not well known, that there are no services for children between the ages of 16 and 18. They fall between the loop of children's services and adult services. This is a practice, to my mind, that is barbaric and needs to be addressed immediately. In the past, there is a traditionally a problem when it comes to admitting young people to adult mental health wards. So much so that in 2010 a report was commissioned by the Mental Health Commission on the admission of young people into adult wards. The report deals with the issues of the inappropriate care for 16 to 18-year-olds in examining the factors contributing to their admission to an adult ward. Alarmingly, it has shown that in the first 6 months of 2010, young people under the age of 18 were admitted to adult-approved centres, including 11 children aged 15 and under, and that in some cases these children didn't even have mental health problems and would be more appropriately dealt with by social services. It is important to understand that it's only in exceptional circumstances that a young person should ever be even considered to be admitted into an adult psychiatric ward. The report notes confusion within the psychiatric community as to who is best placed to look after young people with a mental health problem, particularly between those between the ages of 16 and 17. Furthermore, the State Watchdog says that it is concerned by the occupation of scarce child and adolescent mental health services beds by people who have no mental disorder. So what we're seeing now is akin to what happened in the past, where people were placed inappropriately into institutions, and this is something that needs to come to an end. It is said that young people with no diagnosable mental disorder, often with social problems, have been admitted to child and adolescent units simply as there's nowhere else for them to go. This is a terrible indictment of our service as it currently is, but I am heartened and I welcome the fact that we now have a Minister for Children who I hope will work in partnership with the Minister for State, Kathleen Lynch, in relation to this issue to address it as a matter of urgency. Because these children who have been admitted inappropriately into psychiatric wards are some of the most vulnerable children in our society. We need greater investment in our community resources to address this matter, to stop the problem to getting to this stage. We need investment in mental health of our young people. We need to think outside the box and how we can react to this, and we can act preventatively rather than reactionary. This is something that will not be solved, as I've already outlined, by one minister alone. It requires cooperation by ministers from the Department of Health, Education and Community Affairs, so they can come together to pool the resources and to ensure that we can put the social and emotional needs of our young people to the fore over the lifetime of this next government. And what I mean by thinking outside the box is that when a lot of the discussion and debate on this matter in this House over the last number of weeks has been about adults. But if we are to prevent suicide, really prevent suicide, we need to be proactive. We need to invest in our young children. And I'm talking children as young as the age of 3, who are attending preschool programs. In America, in the 1970s, there was a report commissioned, the Perry Preschool Project, where they invested in young children between the ages of 3 and 5 and followed these children right up into the age into their 40s to see how the investment paid off. And it has been shown categorically, both quantitatively and qualitatively, that this has made an improvement in these children's lives. It has shown that for every dollar or euro that we invest in children at a young age, there's a cost saving of 16 euros. I suppose our partners in social sciences in America often base their results on how they keep people out of prison. And I think, you know, in the last number of weeks, we've also had some discussion about community service orders and how we want to keep people out of prisons. But what I would say to you is that if we invest in our children in quality preschool programs that absolutely identify the issues with young children around their social development and their emotional development, to give children the language that they need to be able to seek the help at a younger age, but also that we'll have the services then, when they reach that age of 16 or 18, to be able to deal with their needs. So then we don't have this, you know, misfortunate group of people who go to adulthood who find themselves in such a low place, so despairing, that they choose to take their own life. This is something that I feel very strongly about, and not just I have the courage of my convictions in relation to this, but also in relation to that the statistics are there. We have an opportunity now to think differently how we deal with mental health, how we can be preventative, because I know more than anyone from working in the community and voluntary sector over the last 10 years, that we need to get the most out of the money that we are given within that sector. So I would, I suppose, appeal to the Minister and to all the ministers involved to ensure that the programmes that are put in place are quality programmes, that are evidence-based programmes, that will not just be about spending the money, but that will deliver results for our young people and our children, so that we can have happier and healthier young people within our society. I mean, it goes without saying that if we invest in our young people and they're happier and healthier, they're more productive workers, they're more productive people. The study in the States showed that those children who received that programme, vis-a-vis the children who didn't, went on to be more productive members in their community, had better relationships in their adulthood, and also was less frequency of antisocial behaviour and crime prevention. So for me, it's a no-brainer that if we can invest in our young children, invest early, and prevent them to getting to that terribly dark place, that this is something that we should endeavour to do. I suppose in my time working within social services, I also worked within the mental health service, and I suppose it'd be remiss of me to say that we have some of the most committed people working within this service, working with a very difficult job of work, and I suppose what I would like to say, and to press upon people here, that people who have mental health difficulties deserve to be treated in palaces. They deserve the best of services and appropriate buildings, and not to be locked away in a dungeon somewhere. And some of the services that I have visited over my time working in the health services are just that. We need to open up this issue, and I again welcome this opportunity to discuss this matter. We need to open the doors and ensure that the community services are there for our people. But again, I would ask the Minister and the other ministers involved to think outside the box on this. Let's invest in our thank you, Corla, to invest in our young children, to ensure that they can grow up to be happy, capable, productive members of society.